that they are as resilient a bunch as we have through 2 weeks, right? All the reasons you outlined just a moment ago. Now, here's the thing. When you look at them, they played to their identity, Tony. This is a team that the last several times they've played the Chiefs, it feels like they're trying to outduel the Chiefs and play their game. They should be running the football, whether that's with Lamar Jackson or their stable of running backs, because that offensive line is awesome, regardless of who's running back there at running back. And obviously Lamar. Lamar is the cheat code. When he runs the way he's capable of running, then they're virtually impossible to stop at times offensively. So we saw that. And for Lamar Jackson individually, Tony, we saw Sammy Watkins talk about it earlier in the week, how he needed to get that win. He talked about it after the fact, saying that he got a quote-unquote monkey off his back, getting that victory against the Chiefs. So resiliency across the board.
Israel Gutierrez, what did you learn from last night?
Yeah, it wasn't a must-win game going in because obviously it's the Chiefs. And if you look at their next 3 games, the Ravens didn't look that difficult. But in terms of the way they won this is kind of a game changer for them. And I feel like for Lamar Jackson as well, we all know sort of the kryptonite thing with the Chiefs, but just being able to not only come back from everything you mentioned there, Tony, but within the game to come back from down 11 points in the fourth quarter, something he's never done. The previous largest comeback was 3 points by him, which is, obviously not that big a number. All of those reasons sort of make you reinforce that, hey, this is a great team because of Lamar Jackson, and like George mentioned, because of the running game, which Lamar Jackson obviously contributes to a ton. And so if they can do that, and if he plays the way he knows he can play against, regardless of what team it is, because the Chiefs obviously a daunting team, then they can beat anybody. And I think that's something that they've always thought, and they always believed because of Lamar Jackson, but maybe because of these other injuries, maybe because of the way their playoffs games have ended, maybe they question it a little bit. I think this game sort of reinforces that, and sky's the limit, essentially, regardless of how many injuries they have.
Kevin, you willing to go there? Sky's the limit, a game-changing win for Lamar and the Ravens?
I don't know if the sky's the limit, but I do know this. Lamar Jackson is not just a great player, but he also revealed himself as a great leader, a leader that a team can get behind. When the coach asks you at the most critical point in the game whether or not you should go for it on 4th down, and he screams back, hell yeah. Not only does
who
he go
says no
for
in that situation, Kevin, honestly?
Well, I'm just saying the coach is entrusting his leadership in his quarterback. And remember, this is a quarterback who has been questioned. And this is a quarterback who we said going into this game that it was him versus Mahomes. And quite frankly, at the end of the day, he was the better quarterback for his team late in that game because he didn't throw a late pick. Mahomes tried to force one in there when he was going down, probably just should have eaten the ball and gave up that pick. I love the leadership that Lamar Jackson has given to his team.
Pablo Torre.
Look, the statement to me, the biggest statement, was not the actual statement he gave to Harbaugh. It's the fact that he somersaulted into the end zone. That told you everything with 3 minutes plus left. That Lamar Jackson wanted to tell everybody. No, well, listen. The reason, though, I'm going to throw some cold water on all of this, Tony, is because the Chiefs' defense is abysmal. Can we say that just very bluntly now? The Chiefs' defense is allowing more yards per attempt than anybody else in the NFL this season. And yes, you'll say, okay, that's only 2 games. They played the Browns and the Ravens, both AFC contenders. Well, I think that's kind of the point, that they need to be better than the AFC contenders, and they're definitively not. And in fact, if you go back and look, go back all the way to November 1st. They have played 13 games since November 1st, including the postseason. They have 1 win by more than 6 points. 1. Patrick Mahomes is so good that we have amnesia, right? But the defense has been struggling for a very long time.
Sounds like somebody's hitting a panic button here, defensively at least for Kansas City. How they lost that game, being up 11, George, concerning?
Tony, it's not like anyone is confusing the Kansas City Chiefs with the 2000s Ravens defense. Like, what are we talking about here? They're a video game. That's how they win games. They put up points. So to douse the Baltimore win with some cold water like Pablo tried to do because of the Chiefs defense makes no sense. They've never had this great defense that he speaks of.
Israel?
10 minutes, Tony. The Ravens had the ball for 10 more minutes than the Chiefs. Just pointing that out there as, again,
when the Ravens are doing well, that's what they do. They run the ball, they control the clock. And for it to start the way it did with a pick 6, you're already giving Mahomes a 7-point lead before he's in the field. What? I mean, yeah.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.